Hi, everyone. I'm so honored to be up here kicking off Denise's big celebration. I'm Katie Goldhahn, one of Denise's 500 daughters, an honorary family member. The amount of you that made this trip is simply incredible. I know we have people flying in from Hawaii, the Midwest, Pacific Northwest, and everywhere in between. But it truly doesn't surprise me. Everyone here would do absolutely anything for Denise Corlett, including making this event as stunning as it is. As we were setting up this week, I'm thinking to myself, I think this is even bigger than my own wedding. Many of you could agree. There is a long list of thank yous to be given and will be given, but I would like to open with thank you all for coming and making this special day happen for our favorite. The group of people here have all been touched by Denise's generous heart, from alumni whose Stanford experience has been shaped because of her, parents of players. You trusted Denise and the volleyball staff when making the biggest decision of your child's life. And in turn, you also grew your family with a +1. To the Stanford Athletics family, you had a coworker and friend that took so much pride in your school and athletic program. Denise Corlett is the epitome of Stanford women's volleyball and carried out her role for 31 years with grace, humility, and so much program success. We've got to give a round of applause. The legacy and impact Denise has left on Stanford volleyball will always remain. I'm excited to share with you a few stories from some of our guests tonight about how Denise's legacy and impact has affected them. I would like to start by introducing Morgan Hentz and Kathryn Plummer, both whom could not be here today, unfortunately, but has graciously submitted a video tribute. Please watch.
Hey Denise, so wish I could be there in person to help celebrate you and all your amazing accomplishments today. I can't thank you enough for being a huge reason why I chose to come to Stanford. I remember back in high school, just a sophomore, starting the recruiting process, got to take a visit out to Stanford, and I absolutely love the school. The academic excellence, the amazing volleyball program, and just this incredible culture that Stanford has. I was going home from the recruiting visit, and I was in the car with my mom, and I started crying. Because deep down, I knew that Stanford was a place I really wanted to be. But also in the back of my mind, I had this fear. What if I wasn't smart enough? What if I wasn't good enough at volleyball? Can I leave my family and go all the way across the country to school? These were all doubts that I had in my mind. But then you came along. You were there to support me every single step of the way. You not only made me feel like I could do it, but you also made my family feel like I could do it as well. Can't thank you enough for helping bring me to Stanford because it is the best decision I've made in my life thus far. You brought me a second family, friends that will last a lifetime, this incredible education, and this community that I didn't know even existed until I met you. I'm eternally grateful to you, Denise. Thank you for everything.
Hi everyone, I'm Kathryn Plummer. First of all, I want to apologize that I'm not able to be there for this awesome celebration, but I kind of feel like I am there because I know exactly what she's wearing, a sweater vest and a button down, her uniform of choice that we have all grown to know and love over the years. For those of you that do not know me so well, I tend to be a crier when I talk about things that I care about, and so there will be a high likelihood that I cry when talking about the person that we're celebrating today. Anyways, with that being said, congratulations, Denise. I'm so proud of you, and I feel so honored to have been one of your players and for you to be a part of my family and for me to be a part of yours. that is one of my biggest blessings for sure throughout my college career and honestly throughout my life. You're one of the most honest people that I know and that I have ever known. You tell it like it is. You're blunt. You're consistent with how you treat people and how you do things. So consistent that if you don't have your M&Ms and Diet Pepsi before a game, you get the jitters. You're loving and caring and know how to get people to succeed. And I think that's pretty evident with the amount of success that Stanford Women's Volleyball has had over the years and hopefully what they will have in the years to come. Of course, I was excited to talk about Denise when I asked, but I've have so many memories with her that it's hard to just pick one. But the one thing that me and my family always talk about is this one story, and I'm not even sure if she knows that it will be forever ingrained in my mind. But one day my freshman year, I was riding my bike in Meyer Green, and Stanford alums will know that area, without a helmet on because I thought I was just too cool for school. And I get a text from Denise saying, "KP, where's your helmet?" I'm looking around, Denise is nowhere to be found. I'm thinking to myself, why does she know where I'm biking? Why is she anywhere near me in the middle of the day? Where is she? Because I cannot find her anywhere. And that kind of goes to show that she knows everything. My parents and I are convinced that she's a CIA agent that has been assigned to watch over her players and their families, because it's not just me that she's watching over, it's also my parents. My parents could be at dinner anywhere with any volleyball person and they'll get a text like, "You guys having fun?" And she's just that girl that always knows everything about everyone, always knows all the details, but doesn't get in anyone's business. She keeps everything really close to her heart, smiles and nods, and just goes about her day. I think a couple words that I would use to describe Dee would first be passionate. When she was working at Stanford, she put in so many hours, so many late nights. She sacrificed a lot and didn't really expect anything in return. She coached college for more than 30 years, and I feel so lucky that she was with me for my whole college experience. And now she's coaching club and spreading her knowledge to all of them. And those girls should feel really fortunate because they get to learn from her. And I know that I learned so much from her, and now they get to. I feel like I have a little piece of Denise with me now, and I get to travel throughout the world playing volleyball, and it's bringing me success and hopefully brings me a lot more. But she was my constant throughout college, and I learned so much from her about volleyball, but more about how she went about life and how she treated people. I think the thing that I love most about Dee is that she makes everyone feel like family. I think she really values how the program was and should continue to be, and also how it should be outside of the program. She recognizes that everyone's not going to be best friends. You can be honest with each other, you can have tough conversations with each other, and sometimes those are hard to hear, but at the end of the day, you're going to be family, and you're going to treat people with respect and have everyone's back. That's one of the things that I admire about her, is that she has everyone's back that she loves, and if she loves you, you know it. A couple of times when I was struggling in college, she texted me and said, "Hey KP, want to get a cup of coffee?" without saying anything else. And she just knew that I was having a tough time. And that's the thing that I love most about her. She just knows. Like I said, she knows everything, but she knows people. That's the one thing that she knows best. And she knows how to treat them. What I will take away most from my time with Denise is that. And I look forward, so forward to having more time with her after my playing career is done. Who knows, maybe I'll come back and coach with her anywhere in the country, but who knows. But I would be honored to continue to learn from her, because that would be a really fun time and a good pleasure. So thank you guys for allowing me to speak about my feelings towards Denise. I hope the event has gone off without a hitch. Please spoil her with all of the love and give her all of the hugs from me. Hope you guys are having the best time. Congrats again, D baby. Love you. Bye.
You might need to put some tissues on the tables. Cue the crying. Next, I would like to introduce Mr. Jason Curtis. Jason started coaching Griffin Volleyball Club with Denise back in 1989 as a student when he was at Santa Clara University. He was the Stanford volunteer assistant in 1996. And he currently helps with us here at Encore Volleyball, as both of his daughters have been a part of our club, or currently a part of our club here at Limo. So please give a warm welcome to Jason Curtis.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, as Katie mentioned, I've known Denise for 30 years. I was about 12 when Denise gave me my first coaching job. She got me to be a varsity coach when I was, I think, 19, 2 years older than the kids I was coaching. Every step of the way, Denise has given me coaching and educational opportunities beyond my capabilities, and I've always leaned on her and tried to pretend like I know what I'm doing. The truth is that when I met Denise and started coaching, I was on a different path. I was not going to become an educator, and as of now, I've been in education for 30 years, and it's because of her. It's because of the opportunities that she gave me, the trust that she put in me. But when I saw the list of people who would be speaking and the people who are here, my first thought is that I really don't deserve to be here. I don't have the accomplishments of all of these folks. But then I thought about my favorite Denise story, which actually has nothing to do with volleyball. My wife Kelly and I have 4 children. The oldest was born in the late 90s, and we went into Good Sam for delivery, first grandchild on both sides, lots of excitement, a lot of people there, and delivery took a long time through the night, and all of a sudden nobody's there in the waiting room. And Jake was born at about 4 in the morning. And about 30 minutes later, this is before cell phones, there's a knock at the door, and it's Denise. She's the only person there, and she comes in. I have no idea how she knew, how she got in. And she did 2 things. She was the first person outside of Kelly and I to hold my son. And she told us, "You got this." And that's what she does as a person and as a coach. And so I realized that in speaking today, that this was my opportunity after all these years to say thank you publicly for how much she's meant to me. And if in any way I have ever been able to pass anything along to the students and the athletes that I have been able to be with, it's because of Denise. And so I would offer my thanks in 3 ways for Denise. The first is that Denise has always been so concise in her feedback. Now, as a coach and as an educator, I've never been accused of brevity. I'll try it tonight, I promise. And I never really got it until I finally understood that it was because Denise understands people. She listens. She's empathetic. She knows exactly what people need when they need it. I've never seen an educator who simply by putting a hand on the shoulder, without saying a word, can tell you either you've got this or, hey, relax, you've got this. Her feedback tells people that they can do things they didn't think they could do otherwise because she knows them and she loves them. And that's the most powerful thing that an educator can do. And after 30 years of doing this, I'm still nowhere near as good as she is at knowing people so well and listening to them. It's been a tremendous gift to all of us, and hopefully someday I hope to be half as good as she is in that. The second thing that I learned with Denise, and I've had the opportunity to form several volleyball clubs with her, is that this matters. Denise always insisted that it be done well. In everything that we did, that it be done well. We're really lucky to get to coach and play and be around a sport. I mean, it's a really remarkable gift. But it's important. It's important to student athletes. It's important to families. It's important to the people who get to watch. And Denise always reminded me that it is important to every single person who's there, and it is worth the effort to prepare. Show up early, do your homework, and make sure that people know that you are showing them the respect they deserve. In all of the years I've been around Denise, she has always been prepared. She's always known what the right thing to do is, and she has done it unlike anyone else. The third thing, and Kathryn mentioned it, it's family. When I was coaching when I was young, we'd always have nieces or little kids. Everybody was fine to be on the bench back in the old days before USA Volleyball started requiring credentials. It was a family scene on the bench. When we were fortunate to be very successful, I think Denise was more excited about the family party afterwards, the dinner where everybody came together. I think that's what she enjoyed the most because it was always about family, first and foremost. So I'll finish with this story. A few years ago, I was getting to coach a club on the East Coast, and my youngest daughter, who was about 7 or 8 at the time, said, "Okay, I want to go with you to the tournament." I said, "Sure, you can come with me." And so we get there, but she didn't want to go with me. She was going to coach. So she dressed like a coach. She's got her leggings on. She's got her club shirt on. She's got a backpack and a clipboard. She's made up her own stat system. And she made her mom stop at Starbucks to get coffee because that's what the coaches have on the sideline is a cup of Starbucks. And so at one point, I'm there and I'm doing something, and I look over and she's standing with the Starbucks and the clipboard. And all I could think is, Denise would love this. All 4 of my children have and continue to coach. And it's not because of me, it's because of Denise. That little 7-year-old now gets to play for Denise. That is one of the greatest gifts that my family could ever have. Because she'll learn a lot about volleyball, but she'll learn more about how to treat people and listen to them. She'll learn more about, let's do this right, and most of all, she'll learn that family is really important. And Denise, my family is eternally grateful to you. We love you very much, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Next, I would like to introduce Dr. Ted Leland. He was the Stanford athletic director and hired Denise in 1987. He had a 14-year tenure at Stanford that included 11 Directors' Cups and 50 national team championships. And I have to give a shout out to his wife, Stephanie, who couldn't be here tonight, and Liz Muir, if she's in the audience, because they also always had the best team dinners at their home. So please welcome Dr. Ted Leland.
Well, it's certainly a privilege to be here. It's great to see all the faces. There's a bunch of my fellow administrators here that I haven't seen for years and years and years, and it's been really fun to sort of reconnect with the Stanford athletic family that's here and the great things that they do. I have to say that, you know, my association with the women's volleyball program at Stanford has been one of the real privileges of my life. There's an old saying, you're known by the company you keep, and I tried to keep as much company with this team as I could because they were not only winning, but they did it with a certain pride and a certain elan. They had a way of competing and a way of treating their opponent and treating the officials and the fans and the coaches. It was just, there was a sense of, for me, not only a sense of excellence, but a sense of class and a sense of empowerment. I feel one thing that we did with our athletes, especially in this program, we tried to emulate it in all of our programs, but we empowered the athletes to be all they could be. That old song, you know, one of those special moments when you can be all you can be, when the answer is only up to me. You know, to me, that's what intercollegiate athletics is about. It's providing those moments where people can be all that they can be for once in their life. It's all up to them, and they have the opportunity and the life force, I guess, to do that. So in this program, the culture of this program is something that has been just extraordinary. It's been fun to sort of be part of. When I think of Denise, I really think of sort of two things. One is that Denise and I, you know, she's not the kind of person you sort of chat with about a lot of stuff when you're the athletic director and she's the associate head coach. And I have to say that her sitting on that chair over there getting her picture taken was really fun for me because I've never seen her so uncomfortable. If those of us who know her know that okay, somebody, you know, Katie Gohan, somebody thought that up. You know, we're gonna get her back for all those things she did for us. But you know, Denise had a couple looks she used to give me, and this is what I really remember about her. One was she had a kind of a full-bellied laugh and a way of smiling that sort of lit up the room. And this would happen to me every year towards the end of volleyball season when we were in the NCAAs or had been chosen, and the end of the season was winding down, and or right after the NCAAs, when people would start calling me and saying from different schools, call me from, you know, little schools, big schools, Oregon, you know, everybody around was you know, we'd like to talk to Denise about our head coaching job. Of course they would, right? You know, we want great coaches. Stanford's run a great program. I would argue the best. Here's our associate head coach for all these years, clearly part of our machine, part of our culture. She helps us get done when we need to get done. Of course, we want to hire her. And the look she would give me every time, because I knew I couldn't tell these people, they'd call up and they'd say, we'd like to talk to Denise. And I'd say, okay, I'll talk to her. And you couldn't tell them she's not interested because you didn't want to offend them. And you sort of owed it to her to bring it up. So, 2 or 3 times every year, I think in the 14, 15 years we worked together, this would happen. She'd come into my office and I'd say, well, here we go again. She said, what school is it? And I'd say, and she goes, ha, 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 ha. She'd just turn around and walk out. I mean, she had absolutely no interest in any of those jobs. And of course, the other look she gave me was she would kind of raise her eyebrows like this. She'd go like this. And that meant, to me, I didn't figure out what that meant to start. I first noticed it during volleyball games when I would sit across and I was sort of competitive and, wasn't beyond questioning an official's call. And I've seen a lot of volleyball, and I was on the board of USA Volleyball for 8 years and all this stuff, and I still can't figure out what a double hit is, So people would call a double hit and it would change the momentum of the game, and I go, oh my God, and I'd look over at Denise, and Denise would look at me and she'd just do this with her eyebrows. She'd go, I kind of like, oh, yeah, like Ted, kind of, I understand. And it ended up, she extrapolated that sort of movement of her eyebrows to when I would ask her, when I'd ask her about anything about one of the student athletes. I mean, I think one you could say about if you were an athlete in this program and Denise knew one of your secrets, it was safe with her because she wasn't sharing it with anybody. I would say, how's this person doing? How's this person doing? Oh, they're doing great. And then she'd raise her eyebrow and turn around and walk away, and I'd say to myself, that raising the eyebrow meant I know something you don't, Ted, and I'm not telling you. That's what I figured out that eyebrow meant. I think that it's sort of in a larger sense, though. I want to be serious for a second and say that with all the great successes that we were lucky to be part of at Stanford and all the great athletes that we had and all the different programs in addition to women's volleyball were successful, one of the things I noticed over a period of time was that the success for many of our programs was driven by the associate head coach. The head coach gets all the accolades, and they're the ones that's up there in the front, and they're on television, and they've got the media and all this stuff. But if you look at the Stanford program through the 90s and the 2000s, even up to today, many of those programs are the stability of them, the culture of them, what happens on a day-to-day basis is determined by the associate head coach. And think of Stanford history. When you think of Lili Theroux in women's tennis, 18 championships when she was associate head coach. Dean Stotts in baseball through all those great championships. If I want to know what's going on in baseball, you didn't talk to Mark Marcus, you talked to Dean Stotts because he knew. He also liked to complain about the officials like I did too, and Mark Marcus wouldn't, so he was kind of a kindred soul for me. But Amy Tucker, Sue Ortwine, Doug Oliver in men's basketball, John Whitlinger in tennis. If you look down all of those wonderful programs that we were being part of, almost always had an associate head coach. My favorite one that nobody ever knew about was men's swimming, Ted Knapp. We won 29 straight Pac-10 men's swimming championships. 29 straight Pac-10 men's women's championships. The toughest league in swimming in America, the most consecutive championships. And our head coach got a lot of the accolades, but through that whole thing, Ted Knapp was there on the deck every day, making sure those athletes were there, making sure they showed up, making sure they were trained. And Denise, I have to say, played the same role in this program. This excellence that we had over a period of time was determined much by her presence. If you want to say, that the real strength of this program was the culture, then she's front and center in establishing that sense of pride, that sense of excellence, that sense of empowerment, the sense of dignity, the sense of respect, and the sense of treating, you can have excellence. You can have excellence and still treat others with respect and dignity. And you can have excellence and you can treat the athletes with respect and dignity. And Denise, I want to thank you for helping prove that. Thank you for coming.
Next, I would like to introduce Dawn Shaw. Dawn hired Denise in 1987, but Denise knew Dawn from Open Nationals back in 1978. Dawn was considered one of the most successful coaches in college women's volleyball and helped shape Stanford into a prominent national program. He's inducted in the AVCA Hall of Fame. 16 years as the Stanford women's volleyball head coach. He won 4 national championships and 10 conference titles. Additionally, Don coached the Stanford men's program after his tenure with the women's program. Please welcome Don.
I want to thank Ted for loosening up the crowd tonight. I feel like it's the open mic at the Comedy Store, and I got to follow him, but I'm going to do my best. I'm the old guy who's here to provide a little historical perspective. I came to Stanford in 1980. Fred Sturm and I coached both the women and the men for 6 years. Then we were able to hire an assistant to work with both programs for 3 years, and that was Ruben Nieves. And then finally we were able to hire an assistant coach specifically for women's volleyball. So I got the opportunity to go through a number of pretty talented applicants, and I was really fortunate to be able to pick Denise. Denise and I, we made a pretty good team. And when I think of a coaching staff having to do what they do, we were able to balance each other out and complement each other, I think, as well as you possibly could. And I'm forever grateful for her making my job so much easier. I don't know if I made her job any easier. But for 12, 13 years, we were able to continue the success that Fred and I had worked so hard to get started. And then it just went beyond all our expectations. And so, it was a great partnership that I'll always, be grateful for. Just to provide a little bit more historical perspective, those of you who are, to me, this is the best possible, or the best that I've ever been involved with, collection of Stanford women's volleyball players from throughout the years. I don't think there's ever been a reunion that's matched this. I'm just so happy to see as many players that I've seen up till now, and I hope to see more later on. But this has all come forward because of Denise, and how you feel about her. So that's another thing I want to thank Denise for, is not only how much she did for me personally, but what she's done for this program. There's no connection to all 9 national championships other than Denise. And it's amazing to me. I'm like Kathryn Plummer. I got to tear up a little bit here, but it's just it amazes me that this situation, this event can bring about. Those of you who are younger, current players or recent players, among you are some unbelievable players who have gone on and done unbelievable things, not just in volleyball, but take this opportunity to introduce yourself, to meet some of these former players and find out what they did while they were here. I've already introduced a couple of 5'9" middle blockers to some current players, and it's just amazing what some of these women that are in this room have accomplished, both in volleyball and outside of volleyball. So trying to think of what my big punchline was going to be at the end, but I've gone through so many different thoughts and things about this, but basically I just want to thank Denise and for not only personally what she's done for me, but what she's done for this program. And the program, it's amazing. Her coaching career is just one thing, part of her career as a player, as an athlete, and what she's done here for Stanford. And it's just it's a heck of a career. Pretty nice. Thank you.
Next, I would like to introduce Debbie Koram. Debbie was a Stanford administrator in 1994. Denise and Debbie connected since they have a mutual friend, one of Denise's UCLA basketball teammates. Sorry. Denise coached one of Debbie's daughters in club volleyball, and to this day, Debbie and Denise have remained really good friends. So please welcome Debbie Koram.
Hello. I first want to congratulate the 9 national championship athletes here. Congratulations. So awesome to have you here. And I want to thank the committee. Wow, what an awesome job this has been. So, Denise, you know, when you succeed at a certain level, you just can be known by one name. And Denise is definitely one of those people. You can say the name Denise in the world of volleyball from the East Coast to the West Coast, and nobody has to ask you, Denise who. Everybody knows. Oh, I'm missing a football game today, and everybody's like, why are you? I got to go for Denise, and everybody knew exactly who I was talking about. It's pretty amazing. But and I was going to talk a little bit about how she stayed true to Stanford, but Ted covered that. So thanks, Ted, for taking a little bit of time off of my speech. I appreciate that. But, you know, when I was thinking about what to say about Denise, I started thinking, and as you heard, I've been cheering for Denise since she was playing at UCLA because someone who was a friend of mine in high school was playing with her at UCLA. So I started thinking, you know, I've been sitting cheering for Denise when she played college ball. Been sat around cheering for Denise when she played on national teams, Pan Am games. Sat around cheering for Denise when she was winning national championships. Sat around cheering for Denise when she became the AVCA, you know, Hall of Fame. When she got inducted into the Southern California Indoor Volleyball Hall of Fame. When she got inducted into the UCLA Hall of Fame, I was very lucky because she asked me to go with her. So I was sitting there watching her get inducted, and then I sat there longer than the ceremony while Troy Aikman, who was also being inducted at the same time, was goggling over the fact that he got inducted at the same time Denise did. So I decided I've been sitting on my ass a whole lot cheering for Denise. And it's about time that I finally got to say something. So thank you for this opportunity. You know, it's been alluded to, but all of you who are the student athletes, I'm just really talking to you and your parents right now. And you know, I want to take you back to that moment when you were in a gym playing ball and Denise walked in. And you know, when Denise walks into a gym, you know she's there to watch somebody special. And so, you know, when we talk about, and Don referred to it, you could have the best head coaches in the world, but if you don't have somebody who's recruiting and bringing you the horses, you can't win the Kentucky Derby with a jackass. So it was up to Denise to bring those thoroughbreds to Stanford. And, you know, and I knew the process that she would go through, and it, you know, so it was strategic. And so, you know, first she would be there and she would see the athletic ability, right? And then she had to find somebody who had the academic prowess to make it through Stanford's education. And then she had to find out if they were of good character and they were going to be somebody who was going to be a good team member. So she had to watch and see, how did they interact with their team? How did they interact with their parents? How did they interact with people around? And then if you've met that criteria, those difficult criteria, then she'd bring you to campus and find out if you fit in with everybody else. So it was very, very strategic on her part. And those of you who are in this room, I know something about you because of this. I know you are an extraordinary person. And I applaud you because If Denise picked you, you're something else. But Denise gave you a whole lot more than a Stanford education, than an opportunity to win national championships. If you said yes and you came to Stanford, Denise gave you her heart. And it's really amazing to me about hearts, because your heart doesn't just say, hey, I only have enough room for 50 people. Your heart keeps growing as you continue to love more and more people. So when I started thinking about how big Denise's heart is, I don't know how in the world it fits in that body. So Denise, I hope, what I'm hoping for you is that today you see this whole wonderful place being filled back with the love that your heart has put out. Because this is all love, my dear, just for you. So, I want to challenge the women who had the opportunity to play with her. These 9 trophies are not her legacy. You are her legacy. I hope one day, I hope all the days of the rest of your life, that you will take the opportunity to share with your children and your grandchildren, hey, you know, I had this wonderful opportunity because this woman gave me a chance to change my life, and her name is Denise. And I hope that will continue going. I can't end, I think the gals on the 94 team who know me know I can't end serious. And Susan. So I have to tell you all one story. Just let me tell one story. I got several, but I'll only tell one. And Denise, I know Ted's here, but he can't fire us anymore. Oh, man. Okay, so the 94 team, we had the national championship in Austin, and the 94 team had been very, very rigorous and strict with themselves. And they had made a policy with each other that we're not going to drink anything stronger than water this whole season, because this is what we're going to do to sacrifice so we can win a national championship. So we go down to Austin, and I wasn't even really supposed to be there. I went on my own dime, which meant I really didn't have a room. I think I slept in a bed with Gabby. I think. Gabby's here somewhere. But anyway, so we win the national championship, and we go out to dinner at a very nice restaurant that was sponsored by the school with the parents. And we're sitting there having dinner, and towards the end of the dinner, Denise runs up to me and goes, "We got a problem." And I'm like, "What's going on?" And she said, "The parents have been buying them drinks, alcoholic drinks." And she said, "And a few of them are not doing so well anymore." And I'm kind of looking at a couple of them right now. But I won't say their name because this is not to embarrass them. And she said, they're wild, they're crazy, they want to celebrate, and we cannot let them go to 6th Street. If they go to 6th Street, we're in trouble. Because everybody's going to know who they are. You know, they're tall, they're beautiful, they're, smart, and they're drunk. So what are we going to do? Because if we take them back to their hotel, they're just going to slip out. We can't take them. And I said, well, I know this honky-tonk. Let me make a phone call. So I called the honky-tonk, and I said, we got this team that just won a national championship, and they need to let it out. Can we come there? So we go to the honky-tonk, and we have this wonderful, wonderful time. Well, Denise and I did not know it, but the owner of the honky-tonk was in the back room giving them shots. And we could not figure out why they were getting drunker and drunker, because we were in the front with them trying to figure out, we're trying to get them sober, right? And they're just getting drunker and drunker. It was just terrible. So anyway, we finally get them back on the bus, and we head back to the hotel, and we're heading back to the hotel, and we noticed cars were following the bus. So we figured out that there were guys that had left the honky-tonk, that were following us. So we got off the bus, and Denise and I looked at each other, and we were like, we're going to have a really long night. We were at an embassy suite, so, all the doors to the hotel open up to the inside. So Denise and I sat on the sofas in the lobby of the embassy suites and entertained a whole bunch of guys that kept coming in, talking to them. And we'd see a door open, and they'd peek out, and then the door would close. The door would open, peek out. We just would sit there and watch all the doors, and we'd wave at people. But anyway, it was just really a lot of fun to be with that team. When we got back to Stanford, we both of us got called in separately, and we were both told that we were going to get fired. but to Denise's and my credit, it's the reason why I love this story is because Denise and I think one of the reasons why we bonded, we've always put the student athletes' safety first. And we knew that night that, we could get in trouble for taking them to this honky-tonk, but we also knew that our number one priority was getting them back to Palo Alto safely and feeling good about their national championship. So anyway, we both ended up keeping our jobs somehow, thanks to Ted, I think. Ted stepped in and, and helped us. But anyway, as I walk, oh no.
First of all, she didn't get the memo in 3 minutes. But now you see the logic I dealt with. We were worried about the safety of the students, so we took them to a honky-tonk in San Antonio. Yeah, that's what you had to deal with. No?
Oh my gosh, okay. Anyway, 94 team, that's a whole nother story. I'm not going to go into it, but here's our song, 94. Remember this one? Without you by my side. And I grew strong, and I learned how to get along, and so you're back. Thank you. Congratulations, Denise.
That was great, Debbie. Next, I would like to introduce Kim Oden, aka Kim O. Kim O was a 3-time All-American at Stanford, a 2-time NCAA Player of the Year, a 2-time Olympian, and Player of the Decade. Yes. Kim coached with Denise at Stanford in '91, as well as the early 2000s. She's another dear friend to Denise, so please welcome Kim O.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is wonderful to be here and to see so many familiar faces and smiles, and it's exciting that we're all here to celebrate Denise. Before I launch into my comments about her, I just wanted to say, I don't know if they're going to do it because they're so humble, but I just want to acknowledge the Limo people for putting all of this together. This is amazing. You were trying to explain it to us, but we didn't realize how amazing you guys were going to make this, so thank you for that. I have, like a lot of other people, so many stories about Denise and our time together. I'll just stick to a couple here, but Denise and I go way back, way back. In fact, some of you guys will not believe this, and I'm not going to look at Don Shaw right now, but we actually, Denise and I played in an AVP doubles beach tournament together back in the day, and as some of you guys know me, I'm not known for my ball control skills. So it was a good thing Denise could do everything. She could set, she could play defense, so I would just sit there and go, get it, Denise. Go, Denise. And then she would. So our partnership did not last that long. We weren't that, we were not that successful, but I did have fun because, as you know, Denise plays everything and everything well. Denise and I, over the years, have really crossed paths a number of times. The next time we crossed paths was when my little sister Beverly, came to Stanford. And through Beverly's eyes, I got to hear about Denise. And I got to hear about all of the amazing behind-the-scenes things that Denise did to make every player feel important, seen, heard, and cared for. And that is something that I see some heads nodding. That is something that anyone who is fortunate enough and blessed enough to be coached by Denise or to work with Denise will feel. And I don't think it's an accident that 4 years after Denise got there and started really pouring her life into the student athletes there, they won their first national championship. Don and Fred set everything up. Denise was like this little missing sauce that was now added to the recipe, and voila. And we all know what happened after that. So I have been a coach at Stanford a couple times. Both times Denise was there. And in 1993, I had my first stint as an assistant coach with Don and Denise. And that's when I learned that Denise and I have a few things in common, but one thing in common, and some people in this room will understand what I mean. Remember when Don Shaw used to drag everybody up to Shasta and make us coach outside and make us camp outside? So I learned that, now I will say that Don, and to your credit, that has really exposed a lot of student athletes, women student athletes, to the outdoors, and they have continued to like that. But Denise and I are not two of those people. So. That was. Barbara Finn. Yes. That's right. Denise didn't even go, but I squeezed my 6'3" frame into some back seat somewhere, and I think Barbara Finn was in the cargo area back there. But anyway, that was one thing that that Denise and I had in common. And of course, over the years, I kept in touch with the program and with the coaches, with Don and Denise and everyone. And in 2000, when Don took a sabbatical, I was actually coaching at Iowa State. And I got a call from Denise saying, hey, do you want to assist me in this sabbatical year? And I said, yes, of course. So in my second stint, that's when I learned that Denise loves M&Ms. And so she and I shared that love for M&Ms, and next door to her, our offices were next door to each other, I would always have this jar of chocolate. I also learned that she liked Nestle's Crunches. So if I came into my office and they were all gone, I knew who to go find. But I also learned at that time how hard a worker Denise is. When people say behind the scenes, I'm not sure people really understand what that means as far as Denise's level of commitment to the volleyball players in the program. I think Josh Cohen is here somewhere. But the three of us worked together for a year, and it was a joy. It was a joy to work with her, it would, we'd put in long, long hours. We would be thinking about the girls. I learned so much from listening to Denise about how to support, how to see, how to communicate with different players, because everybody's different. That's one of the things that I learned from her. You could see her, she wanted to make sure that every player had what they needed, and she was willing to go to bat to make sure they had that, they had what it is, whether it was at a hotel, the food that we got, whatever it was. And she's willing to do what it takes. So I think it was that year that Denise and I did a recruiting trip. We took a red eye out to Normal, Illinois to recruit Oden and Namani. And when we went there, we got there at like 10 in the morning, and the Namanis are the best hosts ever. And so they would be putting out food and bringing people over and all this other kind of stuff. I've never been on a recruiting trip so long. I think we were there 12 hours. And for Denise, that was nothing. And if that was what it took to communicate to the Namanis that Stanford was committed to their child, that's what she would do. And looking around at all the faces, I think you guys all know that if that was required for you, she would have done the same. Denise is selfless. Denise is selfless. She is a fierce protector. She is a confidant. She is a chauffeur, right? She drives you to your PT appointments or your doctor's appointments or whatever you need. She's a shoulder to cry on. She is a knowledgeable coach. And as Debbie mentioned, she has a heart of gold. Denise knows excellence, and she knows heart. And I echo what Debbie said with everybody looking, as I'm looking out at everyone, you guys all have that. I want to thank Denise for all that she has done. I know, and I hope you take this opportunity to take a look around at all of the lives in this room, and even, the film, the videos, and the people who aren't here. All the people whose lives you have positively touched. It is evidence of a life well lived. And you're not done, right? And, Denise is speaking into the lives of the next generation, young kids here at Encore, who are so blessed to have her also. So I just want to end. I just want to end by saying thank you for everything that you've done. Congratulations on your awesome and hugely successful career. I love you, we love you, and thank you.
Bring this mic down. Next, I'd like to introduce Marnie Triefenbach-Hurling. Marnie was a member of Stanford's first national championship team. She's a two-time national champion and All-American. She's our boss from the Midwest. Marnie.
First, thank you so much for the props on the pants. I just dusted off my COVID sweatpants and threw some sequins on them. Here I am. So that worked out well. First of all, I echo the sentiment to the LIMO staff. When we started planning this event, we had no idea that this is what this would become. You stepped in, took so many things out of our hands. Thank you to the committee, my teammates and friends. This has been all for Denise. I would say it's been successful because she's still here. We've got all of the exits blocked so that she can't just ghost out the back door. So when I was being recruited, I was from a small town in southern Illinois, and it was recommended to me that I should go to St. Louis because no coaches were going to come to Southern Illinois at that time. And so I went over and started playing AAU basketball, club volleyball. And wouldn't you know, within the first couple tournaments, I started hearing buzz about, oh, these college coaches are coming. Denise Corlett is coming, Amy Tucker, Tara Vanderveer. All of these huge coaches are coming to watch this tournament. And I'm feeling really good about myself. Well, it turns out that they were coming to see my 8th grade teammate, Kristen Focal. So don't try to hide. This girl that could jump out of the gym and all this talent, and I was like, oh God, yeah, I'm feeling really good. And my dad's like, I think they're coming to see Kristen. But hey, I'm here now, and I thank you, my dear friend. You know, so many people tonight touched on it. When Denise recruits you, she's not recruiting you for 4 years. She's recruiting you for the rest of her life. She's making a commitment to you through good, through bad. You know, Denise flew 7 hours to St. Louis area, stayed at my wedding, reception for an hour, turned around and flew home. When my dear mother passed away 4 years ago, there she was, to pay her respects to a woman who was one of your biggest fans. And while my recruiting was happening, my parents were pretty standoffish in a way that they wanted this decision to be mine. They wanted me to find the place that felt like home. You know, my dad always said, where would you want to be if you couldn't play volleyball? That was very important to him. My mom, however, wore her heart on her sleeve, and she knew people the way Denise knows people. And the very first time Denise walked in the gym, I think Debbie mentioned it, Kimmo, you mentioned it, you know something is special. You know there's something there. And without words, I read that from my mom, that she trusted this woman so implicitly that she was gonna send her daughter 2,000 miles away to go to school. And what a great decision it was. My freshman year, 1992, Carrie Wendell, Mo McLaren, Wendy Ramadka. Our seniors were Bev Oden, Tex, Paso, Jack, and Carrie Feldman. And we had a heck of a crew. We lost twice that year to UCLA, and it was the day before Thanksgiving. We'd had a rough week at school. It was just, we were exhausted. But Don decided we needed some work. Day before Thanksgiving. Look at, he's already got a smile. I was gonna, you got me in the feels when you started crying. I was really gonna go, but. So here we are, we're in the gym, and I will tell you, it was probably the worst practice we have ever had. And it ended early, y'all remember this, with Don yelling, everybody on the line. Well, Don was in a mood. So we knew that we were gonna be on that line until he was ready to not be in his mood. And we ran, and it was one of those instances where everybody had to make it across the line in the time. And if one person missed, you started over and you had to go to 10. So off we went, and we were pumping each other up. We were on our 56th sprint. Bodies were hitting the floor. Bev Oden was down. Dava Reeder, our trainer, God bless her soul, was trying to drag Bev out of the way. You know, Dava's about this big. I went down, I'm hyperventilating, trying for a paper bag, and somewhere along the line, somebody called an ambulance. And I guess, and I don't remember why, but apparently when you call 911, or maybe it was a school protocol, the ambulance had to come and take that person away. So off Denise and I go to the hospital. And I'm fine at this point. They've got me hooked up, they're monitoring me, the little bleeps on the screen. And after Denise realizes I'm gonna be just fine, she steps into the hallway to make her obligatory parent call. Lee, Cheryl, she's fine, but she's at the hospital, everything's fine. Well, while she's in the hallway, the nurse comes in to discharge me. She's unhooking everything. She left the little sticky probes on. Dr. Lambert remembers this. And I dozed off. And so Denise, I guess, was done with her phone call, and the next thing I hear is the curtain tearing open and a gasp. Just, oh! And I open my eyes, and she is white as a ghost and just has this look on her face, and she's looking kind of over here. And I noticed that there's a flat line. Like, the machine had not, like, completely been turned off, so she's thinking I've died. I'm dying. And I'm positive that at some point in her head, she's like, well, Don finally killed one of them. You tried, but we're still standing. Of course, that was the year we won our first national championship, so maybe Don knew something about that. I will keep this as short and sweet as I can. My dear mother would have loved to be here. She was your biggest fan. She felt the love of this family and how lucky we all are to be a part of your family. I hope you feel the love and you let us all come together for you today. We love you.
All right, last but certainly not least, I'd like to introduce Carrie Walsh Jennings. Carrie's a 4-time All-American, a 2-time national champion, and 3-time Olympic gold medalist. Carrie, one of the Walsh-Lewis-Farmaco family members, which I'm pretty sure is half of the attendees here tonight, right? And also I know it's a joke within the family that Denise is number 5 of the 9 siblings in this family, or 8. So without further ado, Carrie.
Hello, everybody. I had this fantasy that I was going to come up here and riff and just like let it spew about how much I love Denise, but that's not going to happen, so I'm going to read from here. If everyone could lift up your glass, let's take a drink. Help me relax a little bit. Let's cheers to Nisi. We love you, Nisi. So first off, I just want to start by saying I love you, Denise, very much. You know, when Sharps and the organizing committee started sending emails out, it's just like the love and the momentum kept building. And showing up here today, watching Nisi sit at the step and repeat for an hour, smiling and giving everyone love and receiving love, you absolutely deserve this event. And I know it's uncomfortable for you, but we've all loved watching you squirm. And we've all loved watching you just receive what you truly deserve. It's about time that you get this. So I've known Nisi since I was about 10 years old. I will forever be grateful that you actually helped me break my first rule. You snuck me in as an underage athlete into the 12-year-old camp, and she said, Carrie, I believe you can play with the big girls. And I was a 10-year-old, and it was my first experience at Stanford, and that literally changed my life. That belief in me never wavered, and I think you still have it for me, and I really appreciate that, but it means more to me than you can ever believe. You know, when you go to a place like Stanford, and everything's so overwhelming, and there's excellence everywhere you look, it's so alluring, and it's so amazing, but for me, it was absolutely, truly overwhelming, and so intimidating. But it was Nisi who became the lighthouse for me, like you truly were. She was the person who made me feel welcome. She made me feel worthy. You guided me when I felt lost, which happened more than I like to admit. You were the person who cut the pressure a little bit, and you allowed me to have the freedom to be my imperfect self and to grow into the woman who I was becoming. You remind me a lot of my parents in that way, and I wouldn't have survived Stanford without you, so thank you for that. Yeah, I'm sure she did that for all of us. My phone is about to die, I'm gonna panic. You were there with the tough love when I needed it. Sarah Clark and I were just remembering 6 a.m. bike sprints. And I was in trouble because she was so in trouble. And I just got, it's a long story, but Nisi had to wake up at 6 a.m. with us every day for a week. We all hated it, but it made us better. Sarah started to wake up early and be on time. Thank God for that. You were there with tough love when I needed it. You were there with hugs when I was low. And your Nisi giggle and your sincere smile and twinkling eyes were always there for me as well. I can't thank you enough. You've been family since the very start. Are you number 5 of the 8 siblings? Is that what it is? Of the 9? You've been family since the very start, and we all truly love, admire, and respect you for all that you are, for all that you've personally accomplished, which is absolutely incredible, and for all that you've helped others to accomplish as well. The ripples of your impact are infinite, and this university, along with every single human in this room, is better because of you and the service you have so selflessly given. To wrap this up, I reached out to Miss Logan Tom, who's in Israel getting her master's. She's really bummed she can't be at the mic talking about you. You know how she is. But she sends some love, and she says, Nisi, hi. Well, I know you love these kinds of events just as much as I do. All dressed up with a spotlight on you. Wink, wink. Even so, it hurts my heart that I can't be there to support you. You are truly the most selflessly giving person, even if I haven't always appreciated your gifts. You are deserving of a night like this. So put on your dancing shoes and enjoy, and when I get back, we'll celebrate with some wine. I love you, Nisi. So that's from Miss Logan, who sends her love. Nisi, you have been the common denominator for decades of excellence. You helped raise hundreds of young women and supported and empowered their own personal journeys to success. You made all the difference in my time at Stanford, which became the jumping off point for so much epic living and dream chasing, which continues still. I love you, Nisi, with all my heart. I thank you with all my heart. And one more time, cheers to Denise Corlett. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for sharing. These are such incredible memories. I do want to send a special shout out because I believe John Jennings is here and his wife, Julie. Hi, John, and happy birthday. Is it today? Happy birthday, Bernard, and the Hambley family and the current Stanford Volleyball players and staff. Thank you, guys. Hi, Hamleys. Thank you. Lastly, and I know it's been a lot of talking, so thank you guys. I would like to introduce T, the founder of LIMO, which is the organization that calls this beautiful place their home. It's also home to Encore as well. I actually coach here and have a special relationship with T, LIMO, and Encore. In fact, in 2018, I asked Denise if she would help out with club volleyball. She had said no to club for so many years. Jason, you can attest. But somehow, I convinced her to be a part of youth volleyball again. Since then, her impact has been monumental. Her volunteering here for the first couple years while still at Stanford consisted of her taking a red-eye plane flight after recruiting a full weekend at Stanford. And that's no surprise to anyone. So she would show up on a Sunday morning after that red-eye from probably the East Coast for one game, and our poor team, I think, would lose that Sunday morning. And then before you could look, Denise was gone. And somehow she always beat us. You guys all know this. She would always beat us to the bus, always beat us to the airport. So, did I mention also, and this is big, Kathryn Plummer, Morgan Hentz, they also, and many other Stanford volleyball players became our assistants. And it's such an amazing opportunity for the youth here to see such successful women and learn from some of the best. So since departing from Stanford, Denise has been full-time in this space. And I know I can speak for everyone here at Encore and LIMO. We are very blessed. So as I talk about legacy and impact with Denise Corlett, I want you to know that that didn't stop when her tenure at the farm did. She is continuing to train, to develop, and influence these young ladies in our community. Her impact is immense. I'm so lucky that I get to share this next chapter with Denise after Stanford Volleyball and doing still what she loves. I'm grateful, Encore is grateful, and LIMO is grateful. So with that, I know T has a few words to say about Denise and the impact she's had on this space. Please welcome T.
Okay. Good afternoon. Denise, we are so grateful for you. I already had a crying session. So many speeches, I think everybody said what I wanted to say. And then, you know, Kim, when you said there are no accidents, we live and die for the kids that we work with. And I just got a text right now from one of our students that broke the WCL record for rushing records. And then I started crying in the emotions because it tied into what I wanted to share. Back in 2008, when we started this organization, it's a nonprofit, I looked at my wife, Allie, the shorter Allie, and I said, man, listen, we got to build something so great. We've got to do something that's never been done before in a really special way. And I remember the application for the 501c3, and in the introductory paragraph I said, we're going to build and be the Stanford level of excellence for these kids in the community. And what I meant by that was just the resources and opportunities for them to compete. You fast forward 12 years later, and literally, little did I know, I was probably feeling and thinking about Denise. There's so much going on because I think it was, I can't remember who said it, but her heart can't fit in her body. And I, from the second she walked into the space, I could feel the levels of oxygen change, the love for the kids. So for somebody not directly tied into Stanford, to give you a perspective of her love and her capacity of impact that she gives to this space, it's unspeakable. And I think tonight is a perfect example, and I'll tell you why. So our philosophy is don't expect to accomplish your dreams if you're not willing to help others accomplish theirs. And we do that through sports, entrepreneurship, and philosophy. And so when we got news that Denise was like, hey, T, do you think it'd be okay if we host my dinner? I'm like, wait, what? Of all the opportunities and places and things that she could have put together, we were so grateful because her heart and her passion and her body of work and love would be able to fill this space, and to be able to continue that love and energy for generations to come. And so as soon as we get to planning, it was like, okay, here's what we got. I know entrepreneurship's a big part of your vision for these kids. We're going to get all the kids in their businesses, and we're going to use the businesses, and we're going to leverage the opportunity for these kids to be able to do this for us. And of course, I get home, I start crying, because it's an opportunity for the kids to learn and grow in their business and their passions. So that in itself just carries so much of her humility and love, continuing to impact and provide opportunities for kids wherever she goes and for other people. And for that, we're forever grateful, Denise, because I know the sport of volleyball is tied to you, but I also want to express that her love and impact for kids outside of the sport, on and off the court, everywhere she goes, is so powerful and so infectious. It's just hard to put into words. Alan and I always discussed as well as just, how are we going to do this? So it's like, well, I think history has shown that all the resources in the world can do a lot of great things, but it's very, very difficult to find incredible people to be able to carry on and push that energy and that level of excellence with authenticity, with pure passion to do it for somebody else. And so she exemplifies our philosophy to the fullest. So we made a small suggestion to the Black Ops team, and we thought about it, an idea, of course, with your blessing, Denise. How can we come together to continue that love and that capacity and keep it going to inspire more and more generations, more and more champions, bringing worlds together, because we're just so grateful for this opportunity. So with that, you'll see some renderings we had put together. Welcome to the Denise Corlett Pavilion.
Everyone, thanks you very much. I don't like talking, I don't like doing this stuff, but I so much appreciate all of you guys. You're all part of my life. You've impacted me so much. My family, unfortunately, can't be here. It's my niece's 40th birthday trumped this for me. but that's my family. My mom was going to try to come up, but we felt it was too many people. But she sends her love to everybody. But I'm up here because of all of you. The champions means nothing to me. It's the family. You guys are all my family. And people say, you know, some people have said you don't know what you're doing because you don't have kids. I've got a lot of kids. And I call you, even though you're 40 or whatever we are, you're all my kids. And I thank you for letting me be part of your lives. It was a great run, great ride. I thank the junior people I coached back in whatever year they're here, the new junior kids I've got in the corner. All of you, family, you're my family. And again, thank you to Dawn for hiring me, Ted for hiring me. Thank you, John and Kevin, for keeping me. And again, thank you to all of you here. This is for all of you. This isn't just for me. And I said to someone last night, if I had to retire to finally get an alumni group to come back, I would have done this sooner. But what I want to say to all you alums is keep coming back. Support the group that are currently here. Support this team so we can go on and continue winning championships. And that's not the most important thing to all of you. My legacy to all of you is the 100% graduation rate. That means more to me than the championships we won. But again, thank you to the families that trusted us and allowed your kids to come, some from across the country. But again, thank you for everyone being here. You know how much I love being in public. I can't believe I took so many pictures today. But I felt it was, my mom told me I had to suck it up and smile. But again, thank you. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. I love you all. You're all, like I said, you're all part of my family. And if I didn't get to talk to you very much today, you all know I love you. Thank you. And thank you to the Limo family for their help.
Thank you guys again. Yes, I just want to echo the Limo team. Lo, Nat, Ali T, Ali M, T, P2 that did the catering, and everyone else behind the scenes. This is incredible, and there's a lot of work that went behind the scenes, so thank you. Encore players and parents, people that volunteered, you gave us your day, thank you. The Stanford staff, I can't thank you guys enough as well, and everyone in between. So please enjoy the rest of the night, eat, mingle, take photos. We do have a photo booth, we have a video area in the very front of the building. So if you have not done your video tribute, please do that now. And this is the one day to get a picture with Nisi. So take advantage, please. Okay, yeah. Oh, and the Black Ops Committee, please stand. Sharps, Marnie, Brittany, Tara, Kimo, Planning Committee, you guys are amazing. And not only do we need an alumni photo, yes, alumni photo, as well as everyone in the building, if that's okay, because we want one giant photo. 6 feet apart, of course. So thank you again.